Hello and welcome back to the Entertainment Vortex. We are at Brennan Theaters today watching Downsizing. It's a movie we were excited to take a look at, and when you watch the trailer it's super intriguing, but you don't really know what it's going to be about. And I can tell you that you really don't know what it's going to be about, because this was completely different than I was expecting from what I saw in the trailer. Now, with that being said, really intriguing concept. Obviously, the first part of the movie is talking about the downsizing process and how you go from being a regular-sized human being to 5 inches small, and then everything goes much further in that world. You pay $1 for up to $1,000 worth of merchandise because it's that big. It's pretty cool, the idea of that they have 180,000 and that equals like $12 million in this world. And that's the surface level. But once you start getting into the movie, you start hearing things like the political problems and concepts that come from this. You start hearing things like the moral values that come from this, and I won't go into detail because that's part of the fun of the movie, is seeing how it unravels. Because you don't think of that stuff when you first hear the concept, like how would governments deal with this, and what would the bad countries do, and the mean countries do, and very interesting stuff.
So as Nick's previously stated, this movie was really interesting. It's something that's unlike a lot of things that I've seen up to this point. It kind of reminds me a little bit of The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. It has like these really grand movements and everything seems like it's building for something. Not a lot of movies do this in a way that works and also is able to fit comedy into that spectrum. This movie does that and has it in spades.
So, I mean, going into this, you think it's just going to be kind of looking at Matt Damon's character dealing with the fact that, as you saw in the trailer, his wife bails out of downsizing and he's already small. But there's so much more to it. There's some meat to it. But the core of this movie, it is a comedy. It is really a comedy. There are some characters that get introduced that aren't shown in the trailer that are going to have you gut laughing. Like, just laughing out loud. Line after line. You are not going to make it through a serious moment without cracking up. And I know that sounds weird, but they definitely did it on purpose. Where the heavier things start to come in, someone's there to say something flippin' hilarious to get you laughing out loud.
There were a few parts of the pacing that I felt were a little kind of off, especially in like the first third. Things kind of go up and down, it moves in kind of weird paces. Overall, while it's a little weird to get into it at first, once you get into that second third, things really start to pick up and they start to move at a more comfortable pace that you're able to keep up with.
So I think the strength of this movie comes from the characters and the acting of those characters. So Matt Damon does a good job, of course. There is a young lady in there that's Vietnamese. I don't actually know her name. I probably don't think I can pronounce her name, actually. She was absolutely fantastic. And right before we recorded this, I heard that she's up for some awards, and she should be. Absolutely, without question. She hits the dramatic parts, she absolutely hits the comedy parts, and she makes this movie worth watching. If that character wasn't in the movie, I don't think it would have been as funny as it was. Actually, I know it wouldn't have been as funny as it was. And Christoph Waltz, gentleman from Inglourious Basterds, does an amazing job in this movie as well. His character is very unique, and you don't really know what to think of him when he's first introduced, and honestly, I finished the movie, I still don't really know what to think of him. He was very interesting. But this is a character-driven comedy, and that's what it is. It's each individual character is giving you something unique and something you haven't really seen before. None of the characters really fit into the molds you see in regular comedies, and I think you're going to find that the flow of this movie and the concepts they're rising is very unique. When you see the trailer, you just kind of think it's a funny idea and they're going to go this regular, canned comedy route, but they definitely don't. It's a very unique movie.
Like Nick stated before as well, the acting performances in this are really spectacular. They're not something that you necessarily expect. There are certain characters that, when they're on screen, they steal the show every single time. I'm also not certain as to what her name is, but there's a Vietnamese actor, and she is absolutely outstanding. I'm excited to see if she's in anything upcoming after this point. She's got some chops. There's a lot of stuff going on with that character. When it comes to comedy, when it comes to drama, there's a lot of things that are happening, and I think that she could have a very strong career moving forward if she plays her cards right, and I would be really excited to see that. The set design and the way that this movie is filmed is absolutely breathtaking to watch. Just the way that they show kind of the perspective of being downsized, how large everything is. Like, there are moments of the movie where you kind of see things in the real world as they are compared to this smaller perspective, and it just looks absolutely incredible. It's like nothing I've ever really seen before. I mean, if you don't count something as cheesy as like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
So I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. The reason I give it an 8 out of 10 is because the ending of the movie wasn't as poignant as I was hoping it would be, but the comedy in the movie was everything I was looking for that I didn't even know I was looking for, if that makes sense. What I got from this movie and what I expected from this movie were two completely different things, and I'm very happy I saw it. We didn't get to see it the week it came out because there were so many other movies coming out that week, but due to the fact that all the release dates are kind of weird right now. We decided to do this because we wanted to review it, and I'm glad we did. If you were at all intrigued by the concept of downsizing, or all intrigued in how this would affect the world if it was real, see this movie. I definitely think you'll be happy you saw it.
Aside from the pacing issues, I really enjoyed this movie. Overall, I would give it an 8 out of 10. With those pacing issues, it's just a little off for me, but I think that, like I said, I don't know if they could have done it another way. It's just, I wish they kind of could have.
So I'm curious to know, would you downsize if this was a real thing? The idea is that you have less of a footprint on the environment, your little bit of money becomes a large amount of money because everything's so much cheaper, but then at the same time it's not reversible, so you're stuck at 5 inches tall forever. You know, there's a lot of things to think about with that. Like there's more than just a surface level of would that be worth it or not. I mean, I think I would downsize. We'll see what JB says.
Permitting that there aren't any huge repercussions of me going through with that process, heck yes, I would downsize. Just the being able to take my, paycheck to paycheck life and turn it into something spectacular and out of this world, I definitely would take advantage of that.
So if you haven't already subscribed, please do. You're going to get more movie reviews just like this one every week, plus Funko Pop videos, gaming videos, fan films. Sky's the limit. We're posting a minimum of 4 videos a week on this channel. I hope you'll follow us into the Vortex. We'll see you next time.